For our next tutorial, we're going to talk about ghosting an image. Ooh, ghosting. We're going to try to make it look spooky. You don't have to use an ominous looking picture for this project, but you can. It plays into it pretty well. I have a picture of a friend of mine that used to teach here at Highland Park, and she moved back to Utah. Her name was Jessica. We're going to use Jessica's picture that one of the photography students took a long time ago. But I'm going to just take Jessica's picture and drag it into Photoshop. Again, you can pretty much use anything you'd like for your photograph. It does need to be a person. I think a face of a person is the very best bet to make it make sense for the technique that we're doing. But the quality of your image is important. So you can see my image is approximately 7.5 inches by 11 inches. So that's a good quality photograph. So make sure that whatever photo you're using, it's good quality. Now, the first thing that we need to do is follow these instructions. Again, I'm not going to read specifically from the tutorial, but I am going to go through the steps and somewhat simplify them for you. Some of the quick keys I use, I'll try to make sure to say that when I'm hitting a quick key, because obviously you can't see me hitting the keys on the keyboard. Other times I will, I just don't always use some of the quick keys that you might see listed in these tutorials, but definitely think that quick keys are a very good thing. So the first thing we need to do is duplicate our background layer, and that's what it's telling us here in step 1. There is a very simple way to do that. My background layer is selected. I can see that it's highlighted blue, and on the keyboard I am hitting Command J. Now I have a layer 1, which is an exact copy of the background layer. On layer 1, I'm going to double click the words layer 1, and I'm going to retitle it Desaturated based on the instructions given to us on the tutorial. So we change the title of that to Desaturated. Now we are going to slide down, and we are going to, again, we are going to, let's see, with the desaturated layer selected in the layers panel, going to get, excuse me, now we are going to change that. Forgive me, I think I've skipped over something. We're going to change that to a black and white mode. And this is a quick key for that. I don't normally use this quick key, but let's use it anyway. So we're on the desaturated layer, and it's telling us for a Mac, which is us right here, Command Shift and U. And you can see over here, Jessica turned black and white. That's because the black and white version of her is over top the color version. If I turned that off, we would see the other layer underneath, but this layer is on top. Okay, so we can do it that way. There's other ways to turn it black and white, but it doesn't hurt to know all these quick keys, and that's a pretty good one. Command Shift U for desaturate, okay? And turn it into black and white. Okay. Now we need to make a copy, again, of a layer. We're going to make a copy of the desaturated layer. We did this one already, Command J. Now we have a copy of the desaturated layer, but we're going to title that Motion Blur. So we've now titled it Motion Blur based on the instructions that we've been given here. And then while we are on Motion Blur, we're going to go to Filter and Blur and Motion Blur. And we're going to select that. Now immediately you can see that Jessica got blurry. It's telling us that 95 in the distance for pixels is good. It's telling us that a 0 angle is good. And all of that is okay. I actually think that in this case, the settings for the motion blur are right for her. You might find that yours is too blurry or not blurry enough, and you can make those adjustments here down in the pixels based on your photograph. So I'm going to say okay to that. Now I'm going to slide down, and the next thing I want to do is I want to add a layer mask to Motion Blur. So I'm on Motion Blur. I'm going to come down here to our little rectangle with a circle. I'm going to add a layer mask. You can see the white panel popped up next to the Motion Blur with a chain link and a frame around the white panel. Now the white panel is where we're going to affect the motion blur. So we have the motion blur here. We're going to do some changes to it that you're going to see show up over here. So I need to now grab my paintbrush, and I'm set at 600 pixels. That's pretty wide, but actually it kind of fills her face pretty good. I think I'm going to stick with that. You might be set at any number of things. If your toolbar looks double like this, your paintbrush, and you can do that by selecting that, Your paintbrush is the fourth one down on the right. You are to go up here. You are to go to a solid. It can have a soft edge, which is good. A soft edge is good. Matter of fact, let's grab this guy, and we can make him a little bit firmer of an edge. Okay, but we're going to stick at 600 pixels, and that's where you can change all these things in here, and you can get crazy with it. Another way to increase or decrease the size of your paintbrush are the bracket keys. These are next to the letter P on the keyboard. Left is going to make it smaller. Right is going to make it bigger. Left and right. And that's how I'm changing. You can see it changes it by 100 pixels at a time. So watch how this changes. While I'm hitting that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, see I'm at 11, 1200, and I can go back down to 600. Let's leave it at 6. I think that's good. Okay, now it's very important that over here on the foreground color, you have black selected. Yours might not be selected to black. I can hit a D for default colors, and then I can hit an X for the black to show up. So if you don't have that black and white, you can very simply hit D and then X, or even X switches it back and forth. As long as my black is in the foreground, my white's in the background, you're good to go. Now you're going to look at the opacity of this brush. Up here, I'm at 100%. I can slide that down to anything I want. Let's see what happens when I change it. Right now I'm at 100%. And there, boom, Jessica's face came back with one little click of that brush, and I have a big black dot on my layer mask. Now, I'm going to Command Z that to make it go away. Let's test it at 50%. 50% opacity. Click on Jessica. She's sort of back. She's sort of back. And look over here. Instead of a black dot, I have a gray dot. Okay, so this is where it comes into play. You're going to have to make choices that are best for your photograph, and every single photograph will be different. I actually kind of like the more opacity where we had the black dot. I'm going to Command Z that. I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to take this down, or I'm going to take it, you know what, let's split the difference. Let's go to, I can put in a number here, or I can use the slider. I'm going to hit 75%, enter. You can see, watch the changes over here. And there, I'm a kind of dark gray circle. And not black, not gray, but kind of a dark gray. I'm going to do, I did 2 clicks around her face. We have a soft edge. Her face is back into focus for the most part. I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot. I think that's just right for this photograph. You have to do it based on your own photograph. Notice that let's go back to here. Our panel, layers panel, looks just like theirs. Now we have these dots right here, but now we're going to do this step. We're going to merge the layers. There's a difference between merging and merging the layers onto a new layer, and you have to be careful with this. Once you merge all the layers, it's a done deal. You can't really undo that easily, so you have to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So I'm going to select background. I'm going to select background, and up here, and this is what the instructions are telling you, you're going to select all of your layers. You're going to select your top layer, only your top layer, and you're going to hit Command and Option and Control and E. Command, Shift, Option, Control, E. And now we have a merged layer at the top. You're to double click that, and you're to title it Merged. Double click the title and change it to merge. Now we have exactly what they have over here. The next thing we have to do is go to diffuse glow. This one's a little tricky because these instructions are based on Photoshop 4 and our Photoshop is Photoshop 6, so follow along with me. While we're still on the merged layer, you are going to go up to Filter, Gallery, Filter, Gallery, and it's going to be hidden under the third panel that says Distort, and you're going to go to Diffuse Glow. You're going to have 3 sliders, graininess, glow amount, clear amount, that you can choose to select changes on your photo, okay? Now, I actually like, down here, it's telling me Jessica's photograph's at 100%. I'm going to decrease that because I can play with these sliders and it's easier to tell what's going on. Well, I mean, not necessarily easier to tell what's going on, but it'll happen more quickly. Let's go to 50%. And it'll just make the program work a little bit faster because it has less information to affect. So graininess, glow amount, clear amount. Okay, let's do, but I kind of like it right there. These can be changed based on your photograph. We won't know what the right answer for these settings are because every single one of you will have a different photograph. And I'm going to say okay. And it just kind of softened all of this up. Okay, we have one more interesting thing to do to our photograph. While we're still on that merged layer, we've already done our diffuse glow. We need a new solid color fill layer. We're going to go down here to the half black, half white circle. Solid color is what we're going to say. Notice it's made a brand new layer. It automatically made that black, which is my foreground color. I'm going to choose, purple is a favorite, but I better break out of that and let's pick something really, Jessica had a really bright personality. She was really fun and bubbly. Let's get something bright. How about this? Once I select that, I can change the opacity, and that's going to bring that back. And that actually is kind of an eerie color when we bring that back. So remember, slider on the opacity. You can type in your numbers or you can slide, and this will affect the layer. Of course, if I leave it solid, that's not doing me any good. I need to bring it down. And once I do that, I need to save this. And this document becomes File Save As, Brown, hashtag 2 for this project. But make sure that whatever semester you're in, this is the second project. Whatever the number of the project is goes here. PSD, desktop, Photoshop document, and I save it. And you'll see it pop up onto my desktop right next to the original photo. Make sure that you turn this into the server. That's the important part. It's not done until it's turned into the server. So I hope my instructions have helped you understand ghosting an image. Bye.